and they have begun to apply some strong doses of medicine. They're hoping to resuscitate the patient and to begin a regimen of prescriptions to treat the ailments and put the patient on the road to full recovery. But there's going to be some strong medicine as this treatment begins. The Prime Minister, as the doctor, says he's beginning the treatment with a 10% cut in the budgets of all government ministries. That there will be a freeze on hiring in the public service. That no government contracts over $100,000 per annum will be renewed. That the number of government vehicles will also be reduced. That a special committee to advise the government on state-owned enterprises will be appointed with a view to reducing the burden on public finances. He says the medicine is not going to be sugar-coated, like we say on Straight Talk. And that is because a new era of financial discipline is upon us. This review on state-owned enterprises can begin today, right now, at the Bahamas Power and Light Company, formerly known as BEC, because they are having a challenge with keeping the lights on. But we are being told that the executives, the 4 top executives of Bahamas Power and Light, are being paid over $1 million collectively in annual salaries, and that they are also being paid a guaranteed bonus. So while the former Deputy Prime Minister, who was then responsible for all of the arrangements with the new management company at Bahamas Power and Light, while he is criticizing the Hubert Minnis government, criticizing the Prime Minister's first national address, he should also be telling the Bahamian people how and why he, along with the previous government, agreed to such an outrageous arrangement with Power Secure, and the Bahamian people are still suffering. Mr. Philip Brave Davis says the first national address by Prime Minister Hubert Minnis underscored that the FNM has no vision, it has no plan, no ideas for the future sustained growth and development into a united, resilient, and strong Bahamas. Well, Mr. Davis, I recall that you told us so, that Bahamas Power and Light, managed by Power Secure out of North Carolina and the United States, that they will come with a plan to give the Bahamian people a reliable and affordable supply of electricity. You said that is what they promised. Well, I'd like to know, sir, can you give us a report while you are criticizing, trying to meet with the Prime Minister, criticizing his first national address, talking about the austerity measures could trigger a recession in the Bahamas, while you are cautioning the Prime Minister and his government? Can you give us a report about how Power Secure is supposed to be providing a reliable source and an affordable source of electricity to the people of the Bahamas? And tell us what is happening today, and whether or not, in your view, that service is contributing to the sustained growth and development of the country. We need to know, Mr. Davis, because you are now the leader of the opposition. You're in charge of the watchdog organization in the country. But there are some things that you were responsible for in the previous administration. You want to caution the government, and I think you wanted to urge the Prime Minister to stop picking the low fruit and to do no further picking of any fruit. Because somewhere along the line, we all will know who the big fruits are. But for now, we would like to get an explanation from Mr. Philip Brave Davis as to how these 4 top executives at BPL are taking home $1.1 million and they cannot keep the lights on.
Well, not only that they can't keep the lights on, but certainly during the time that BPL has taken over management of BEC, electricity rates has increased. Notwithstanding what Mr. Brave Davis had to say while he was Deputy Prime Minister and was responsible for BEC, rates have increased. In fact, as you know, a lot of people were up in arms after Hurricane Matthew, how their light bills doubled while the electricity was off. We've still not gotten an explanation or seen where that money has been returned to consumers, subscribers of BEC, how it's been settled, or whether there is any plan to settle those amounts. Maybe that's where the $2 million in bonuses also came from. But I believe the general public, they are outraged at this bonuses being paid to management. And in fact, how could you sign a contract guaranteeing bonuses whether management performs adequately to the satisfaction of the government or the people and still pay those bonuses? I believe regular workers would be interested to know how they can get guaranteed bonuses, because if they don't, if their assessment during the quarter or during the year is not adequate, they are not paid any bonuses. But yet you can give to a foreign entity, foreign managers, guaranteed $2 million, whether they perform, whether they do their work adequately, satisfactorily, or not, but they can get this $2 million bonus. Now, that's the minimum. Now, if they perform above, well, I can't say above, well, let's say above their minimum requirement, because it appears to be no minimum. If they get $2 million, you could do anything and still get $2 million.
You qualify for a bonus.
Yeah,
when you perform your duties and you go beyond your expectations.
That's when a bonus should be paid. But yes, they're guaranteed a bonus whether they perform below, above, or whatever. They get a $2 billion. Now, they can get up to $5 million in bonuses, which is in order for them to get part of the $3 million excess, they must go beyond. But they don't have to do anything. They can maintain the status quo, or things can get progressively worse, and they still pay the bonus. How could we sign such a contract?
And the bonus should only be paid if the company is making money, and the company is out of the red and in the black.
But that's the problem. Whether they're in the red, the black, the green, the yellow, or the blue, they still get a $2 billion bonus.
$2 million.
$2 million. That I don't see how the Bahamian people could absorb that. How they can be satisfied that the PLP administration signed such a contract guaranteeing. As a matter of fact, we read with interest the comments made by former Executive Chairman Leslie Miller, who apparently seemed to have been in the dark over this revelation, and he has expressed his outrage that this bonus could have been paid, and especially when you find people making such outrageous remarks when Bahamian people are properly being compensated but we seem to have no difficulty giving the money to foreigners.
Well, you talked about Mr. Miller and his review. He's calling it mind-blowing, and that it reinforces the idea that foreigners are more valued than Bahamians in the Bahamas. Now, he discovered that the salaries of the 4 top executives at BPL range from $280,000 base pay down to $210,000 per annum. And I guess that's the base pay. And they were also, or are also, entitled to housing and everything else that goes along with it. So, Mr. Miller saying he's astounded, but I don't know why he's astounded. He used to be the executive chairman of Bahamas Electricity Corporation. Shortly afterwards, they changed the name to Bahamas Power and Light when Power Secure came to town. And they unceremoniously removed Mr. Miller from the position of executive chairman. And that is when Mr. Philip Brave Davis was the man in charge. I remember Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Gladstone Christie, had occasion to travel to Washington, D.C. And there he met one Mr. Joe Biden. And when he returned home, he came to the Honorable House of Assembly and he told us, I have great news. We found a management team for Bahamas Electricity Corporation, and we are now in the process of finalizing a management deal because we have received the backing of one Mr. Joe Biden, Vice President of the United States of America, who has sanctioned the company to come in, and they will, in addition to finding alternate means of power generation, they will come into the Bahamas and show us how to generate electricity at an affordable rate. They will make it reliable, and that they would find the means by which to reduce the cost of electricity to the consumer. Now, I'm seeing today, after all that has been said and done, the Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, Peter Turnquest, telling us that Bahamas Power and Light is providing inadequate service to the Bahamian people, and said it is leaving a bad taste in the mouth of the people to see the company rewarded a $1.1 million bonus by the former administration. He noted, Bahamians, you have a right to be upset with the Christie administration's deal with Power Secure, because the deal does not benefit the Bahamian people as far as Mr. Turnquest is concerned. Well, he was then asked by the reporters yesterday to respond to the revelation that under the Christie administration, Power Secure benefited from a performance bonus of around $1.1 million, that 4 BPL executives are paid over $1 million collectively in annual salaries. What did Mr. Turnquest, the Minister of Finance, say? He said that is inconsistent with the desire to improve the results at BPL, and the management company can be rewarded for what I think most Bahamians, or most people who live in New Providence, what would they say? What would you say, you people who live in New Providence, when you find out all of these things? They would say it is an inadequate service. And that's all that you can say. But there are some contractual terms that I told you earlier between the government and BPL or Power Secure that Mr. Philip Brave Davis and the previous administration negotiated, and they promised to tell us all about it. They promised that this new company, Power Secure, will give them a business plan to show how they intend to bring about this complete change at BPL, to make the company solvent, to bring about a redistribution and a plant for the generation of electricity up to the standards of the 21st century. Because they say we are using archaic, aged equipment that every other day it's breaking down. And then they entered into an agreement to bring in millions of dollars worth of power through generators. They told us last summer, even though they were late in bringing in this extra power, they told us that come 2017, you will not be experiencing the same things you went through 2016, 2015, and going back. Things were going to change. But we are now seeing that the big change was in the big salaries that they are dishing out to the Power Secure management team and the bonuses that they are getting. And we heard the minister responsible for finance, Peter Turnquest, describing what's going on now at BPL as inadequate service and all the contractual terms that they are dealing with. He says they will take a good look at what is happening now, because it is out of control and everything needs to be looked at. Those of us who live in New Providence, we complain almost every day about the bills that we're getting from BEC. But we can tell you that what you are seeing is totally out of control. And I'm calling on the government to review as soon as possible all of the terms of the agreement that the previous administration has in place with this company called Power Secure.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening for the past half hour to Straight Talk with your host, Greg Colley and Martin Albury, coming to you on Global 99.5 FM. And I want to remind you that this is Free Talk Friday, which means you get to talk about whatever you want to talk about. You're not confined to what we're talking about. You can tell us what's on your mind. Tell us what's bothering you, what's making you happy, or what's making you sad. Talk to us today. Our telephone lines, 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, or you can WhatsApp or text us at 552-7902, 552-7902. And I want to remind you, we're also streaming live on Facebook. You can also join us there. When we come back, we're going to open up our phone lines. And as I said, you can talk about, we've been talking about the past half hour about BPL and these outrageous bonuses that they have been paying management, notwithstanding that they've not been able to keep the lights on, notwithstanding that electricity rates seems to have been increased. And they have not been able, I see light poles that are should have been changed from Hurricane Matthew, still standing in place, even though they may have put supported poles in place, but the transfer has not taken place. There's still a lot of work to be done, and we are also back in the hurricane season. So when we come back, we are going to continue our discussion, and we're going to talk about some other things. In fact, when we come back, we're going to put in the mix this whole business about the Registrar General's Department requiring nonprofit organizations to produce certain documents, which was published on July 21st in the Tribune newspaper. We're going to talk about that, concerns expressed about that by social partners. And all of a sudden, this request came about. So we can talk about that and other things when we come back, and we'll continue discussing BPL. But again, as I said, you are not confined to what we're talking about. You can talk about whatever topic you have in mind. This is Straight Talk. We're coming back after you hear from our sponsors.
There is only one pharmacy in Nassau that never says no and offers you great service. Doc's Pharmacy in the Ridgeland Mall for all of your pharmaceutical and prescription needs. At Doc's Pharmacy, great service is more than just giving prices. Filling your prescription is easy. Just call 322-3627 today. Doc's Pharmacy in the Ridgeland Mall, Robinson Road. The pharmacy that never says no.
For fast and efficient appraisals of homes, vacant land, and businesses, your choice should be First Choice Appraisal and Real Estate Sales. Contact broker appraiser Gregory Colley for all your real estate sales and appraisals. Call 422-3010, 565-8896, or 341-0582 for listings of vacant land, residential and commercial properties, and all your appraisal needs.
LRD Construction has a proven track record as a general building and construction company. Its remarkable team is ready to provide quality and proficient service on projects big or small. LRD Construction can handle large commercial sites, new homes, apartments, condominiums, townhouses, home improvements, renovations, additions, and alterations. Call LRD Construction at 327-3769 or 433-6166. West Winds, Love Beach. That's LRD Construction.
It's a family affair, an event you don't want to miss. Yes, it's that time of the year again for the 6th annual Bishop Edward Missick JP Memorial Back to School Fun Run Walk. It's on Saturday, August 12th at 6 a.m., beginning at First Holiness Church of God, Bamboo Town. This exciting event has been going on for the past 5 years. There will be health screening following the race, and trophies will be awarded to the top male and female finishers in each age division. This year's grand prize is a $250 travel gift certificate. For more information on the 6th annual Bishop Edward Missick JP Memorial Back to School Fun Run Walk, contact race organizers at 341-0582, 424-0594, or 395-4656. We want to see you at the finish line.
The best tasting roasted peanuts in the whole wide world are Nature's Gifts Roasted Peanuts. Proprietor Derek Sims applies his personal touch by roasting peanuts to perfection. Get your peanuts in light, medium, and dark. Call 431-7710 to place your order. Nature's Gifts Roasted Peanuts on Market Street and Bacardi Road. Peanuts!
Extra, extra, read all about it. Sammy's Chicken $5.99 special.
Sammy's Chicken does it again. For a limited time only, it's the $5.99 Thigh Snack Special.
I tell you.
Sammy's $5.99 Thigh Snack Special comes with a 12-ounce Coke, VAT included.
See, I don't lie.
For a limited time only, Sammy's Chicken, Robinson Road, Carmichael Road, East Street South, Farrington Road, and the newly reopened Prince Charles location. Sammy's Chicken.
Want to reach your target audience? Advertise here at Global Radio 99.5. We hit the mark every time. This is Straight Talk with Gregory Colley. Call in and participate at 326-0271 on Global Radio 99.5 FM.
Well, welcome back once again. This is Straight Talk. I'm your host, Greg Colley, along with Martin Albury, and we're broadcasting live on Global 99.5 FM and Straight Talk. Want to remind you again, this is Free Talk Friday, so you are free to talk about what you want to talk about. We have been talking about the outrageous bonuses being paid to BPL executives, notwithstanding the fact that they can't seem to keep the light on. They're not being, the service is not up to par. And we have found that electricity rates has increased during their management period, and it certainly has not resulted in any reduction in electricity rates. Notwithstanding that oil prices has decreased, we have continued to pay high electricity rates. The phone lines are open 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, or you can WhatsApp or text us at 552-7902. That's 552-7902. And we have a caller, our first caller this afternoon. I welcome you. This is Straight Talk.
Hey,
welcome.
Greg.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Tell me something, man. Can you give me the definition of rape?
Of rape?
Yeah, rape. R-A-P-E.
You want a legal definition?
Yeah. You can get charged for rape, right?
Of course.
Go ahead, then.
Well, I believe rape, as if I want to get, let me see if I can get the legal definition from you as it is defined in law. But just generally speaking, rape is the unwanted sexual advances by any individual whereby it is not consensual and it is forced upon the individual by one person on the other. But that's just a general description of it, but not the legal definition.
So did you think the PLP raped this country?
Well, certainly we did not consent to them doing what they did, which will partially satisfy one of the requirement, one of the necessary component to ingredient to justify that it was rape, because we did not consent. A lot of secret dealings that have been done that are just now being revealed. We have not, the Bahamian people have not consented to the deals that they have entered into. And certainly a number of things have been forced upon us. One example I can put to you is you recall that the Bahamian people voted in a referendum that they didn't ask for, but Perry Christie and the PLP government placed upon the Bahamian people regarding the legalization of web shops. We voted in that referendum, that opinion poll that later called. We said emphatically no.
No.
But they put it on us, so they rape us in that regard.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So don't you think all of them should be arrested?
Well, let's find out from you. What do you think? What do you think?
I think all should be arrested, man. Forget all.
Why do you think all should be arrested when all were not involved with some of these things?
All were not involved. All of them was in the former administration.
But certainly you could put all.
And all know what's going on.
But certainly you could put all on the cabinet ministers because they have collective responsibility. Now those outside who sit in the back bench, I don't know whether you can put them in that category, but certainly those who had ministerial positions, cabinet has collective responsibility.
Well,
so if one is guilty, all guilty.
Even
thank you very much, sir. That's all I have to say, sir. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for calling. But Philip Brave Davis just recently made a statement that he was unaware of contracts that were being given out to people.
Ignorance
that they call on the Ministry of Works.
Ignorance.
The ministry that he was responsible for after the fact. While
they may want to sympathize with Mr. and I don't know, sure,
the new Minister of Works,
should really sympathize with him.
Mr. Desmond Bannister says when he took over Ministry of Works, he saw a letter written by Mr. Philip Brave Davis warning the Prime Minister that your ministers are doing some things that I think is wrong.
Then he should have resigned.
You are doing some things that I see is wrong.
Brave Davis would have been
so you cannot
in a higher standing than he is today.
You can't put Brave Davis in that.
Yes, I could. Yes, he could be. Because once he discovered what they were doing, as a man, as a citizen who was looking out for the Bahamian interests, rather than being a little scared chessy cat, he should have resigned. I would have resigned if I found myself in that position where I'm being disrespected as a deputy prime minister, as a minister of works, and people are doing what they want to do around me, and with the consent of the prime minister, I'm going to sit there. Martin Aubrey?
He says he didn't know what he was doing.
That ignorance is no excuse. Once he said he had to know because he wrote the letter in protest.
Tell them
he wrote the letter in protest.
They're not coming to me.
Yes, because once he discovered that, as a man, I'm sure the Bahamian people would have rewarded him with their respect, and they would have exalted him and respected him more for being the man that he would have been if he's chosen to resign from the Perry Christie-led cabinet.
Yes.
But he decided to stay. So once he decided to stay, knowing what he knew then, he was guilty and is just as
culpable.
Is culpable.
You're going to put that on him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I can tell you for a fact. Now, I know for the negotiations between Power Secure International and BEC, I know that. He was responsible for that. He was responsible for Power Secure's 5-year management services agreement, PL. And we were told that it was reportedly worth as much as $25 million by the former Christie administration as being the answer to the subpar electricity service and the high electricity bills. You remember? Mr. Davis knew all about this. He signed the agreement in 2016. And since Power Secure took over at BEC and named it BPL, they told us they were making every effort to restructure BEC. They found that BEC, now BPL, was cash-strapped. That means it couldn't get credit to purchase fuel for the Bahamas Power Company. Couldn't get credit because they owe too many bills. All right.
Okay, let's take this call from out of country. We have a WhatsApp call here. Let's take this call. Go ahead, caller. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Matt. I'm good. How are you all?
We're doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Greg and Martin, the Bahamian people still haven't gotten to the bottom of the SWIA deal with BPL and the former Christie administration. Why can't the FNM now simply do one thing? Take the bullet, Craig, and cancel the doggone contract with Power and Light, or whatever the name is. Cancel the contract. Put BC back in the Bahamian hands and run BC the way how BC is supposed to be run. Why can't that happen? I don't need to hear about this deal and the next deal and the next deal. The government has the authority to simply cancel it, get them out of there. You got executives making them in $1 million, man. Greg, where in the world you hear this? You trying to tell me you trying to turn a company around, but on the back of it, you pay yourself $1 million plus. What kind of company you trying to turn around, Greg? I mean, the baby to the breast knows better than that. When this madness is gonna end, Brave, let me say to Philip Brave this. It's obvious, Mr. Davis, that you actually had no backbone. It's as plain and as simple as that. Because if you're in charge of the ministry, why you got to write to the Prime Minister and tell the Prime Minister these things and you're in charge? You should have come to the Bahamian people, probably being Prime Minister today. But you see, when you're also greedy and hard for power, and you all decide to turn your head because of power and don't give the Bahamian people and what they want, that's the reason why now you're out of power. And you looking to become Prime Minister, my brother, you will never ever see it. Anything yet on Bama, Greg? What's going on with Bama?
We still haven't heard anything since the Prime Minister and his delegation paid a visit to that institution. So we have not any further word as to what's going on at this time.
But I'm asking you, Martin, do you not think the best thing to do at this juncture is to simply bite the bullet now instead of carrying on with BPL, going forward with BPL, and it's costing the Bahamian people there, man. I'm talking about, listen, the price for everything in Nassau is just way too high. Don't you think it's best right now that the government just bite the bullet, get rid of Power and Light, whoever the name, get rid of them once and for all, and restructure BEC? Don't you think that would be the best move to make right now?
Well, I'm certain that they are under a contract. I think the contract is for 5 years. It was signed in 2016, so add 5 to 2016. And I believe the government intends to just let it play out. But in the meantime, they are looking at a comprehensive strategy to reform the energy sector in the country. And I believe that includes finding cheaper, more reliable forms of energy and putting BEC or BPL in a different kind of position than it is today.
I simply said I'll go on the record and say this, Martin and Greg, it's best that you nip it in the butt now instead of going forward, because BPL isn't doing what they're supposed to do. They come to the Bahamas to get rich on the back of payments. And I'm going to say it loud and clear. Perry, Gladstone, Christie, Philip, Brave Davis, all y'all need to go to jail for the things that you all have done. My Lord, I have never seen no madness like this in all of my life. It's bad, but my God, you all take the cake. Like, I don't want to use the word, but y'all are and listen, hey, I wish I had a car to just cut all of the backside. I talking about from east, west, north, and south. 365 days of the year. Take care, Greg and Martin.
Take care.
Greg, I'm still looking forward to hear. I'm still looking forward to hear from you. When are you going to get back to me?
Well, as soon as I'm able to make contact, it's contingent on me making the contact that I promised to set up that connection.
Right. Okay. I give you some time, cuz no problem.
Well,
Martin do well and
yeah. Well, I'm trying my best to do so over the weekend.
Okay. They really got to do better now, Greg. Have you and Martin looked into that mining of the rocks that's supposed to be going to soon be taking place in Marijuana that was given to an individual who was doing something similar in Andros and wanting to do the same thing in Marijuana? Have you all looked into that?
We have, and I can tell you that I have spoken to several persons who seem to be in the dark with that matter. They seem to be oblivious of what's going on in that regard. And so it's still, Martin and I have set out an appeal for us to go and have a look ourselves so that we can better report and better understand what's going on so that we can better advocate on behalf of the people in Marijuana. But so far, we have not had any response.
I want to give you something. I want to give you something to go on, Greg, without calling any names. Okay. I am dealing with a very. It isn't complex. It's a very peculiar matter. And let me go on the record and say it's pertaining to my mom over here in the United States, what I'm dealing with. you might probably have an idea as to where I'm going with it, but I'm not gonna say anything else on that.
Well, you know, your mother was my dear friend.
Greg, say no more. You know, I know it is me who actually introduced you to her and her to you. I did that, you know.
Yes, you did.
Not the rest of the family members.
No, I know it was you.
You know me.
You brought her.
Yes, you know me.
Yeah.
Yes, you know me better than every last one of them. And you know me longer.
And it was my pleasure. It was my pleasure to ensure that she got sorted out, which a matter she was trying to sort out for years and couldn't get nowhere with it.
And you know, I have always thanked you for that, I mean, personally, because I was the one that really pushed and advocated and was behind you, and you didn't let me down. You haven't let me down so far, and that's the reason why I'll say on national radio, I hold the utmost respect for you, and to have the utmost respect for me, Greg, me being the type of person that I am, it isn't given, it's earned. You have earned that. But I want to say this, Greg, that too many times we have foreigners come to the Bahamas claiming to be investors and acts very serious, dangerous things happen to our Bahamian people, and you don't hear anything about it. But they still want to continue doing business in the Bahamas because no one in the Bahamas wants to expose them. But I'm going to go on the record and tell you right now, Greg, that there are going to be one or two individuals that I do intend to expose. And I would say that I believe you know that I have all of the documents to expose them, because what has happened to my mother, my sister, and my brother-in-law, no one has answered as yet. And I will be a dead man gone. I will seek justice from now until eternity to get justice for what has happened. I will not rest until I get justice, Greg. You hear me?
Yes.
I will stay in the United States as long as it takes for me to get justice for my mother. But you see, a lot of people don't know, Greg, because I haven't said anything, even though I have loved ones who was trying to stop me. I'm not calling no names. But the persons that I assume I'm going to be prepared in a little bit to present evidence, irrefutable evidence to the media, to the press, to show the Bahamas government the type of persons that these persons really are.
Right.
Because I think the Minister administration needs to know, Greg.
Well, we're going to leave that right there this afternoon on Straight Talk.
No problem.
Okay.
No problem, Martin. We talk another day, Martin.
Absolutely. All right.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Straight Talk. I'm your host, Greg Colley, along with my co-host, Martin Albury. And today is Free Talk Friday, and you can talk about whatever topic you have on your mind, whatever's bothering you, whatever's making you happy, whatever's making you sad. You can talk and let us know what you have on your mind. 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, 326-0272, or our WhatsApp or text us, WhatsApp or our text line 552-7902, 552-7902. Now, I just want to get back to the legal definition of rape for the benefit of that caller that we had. According to the Sexual Offenses Act, rape is the act of any person not under 14 years of age having sexual intercourse with another person who is not his spouse. Without the consent of that other person. B, without consent, which has been extorted by threats or fear of bodily harm. C, with consent obtained by personating the spouse of that other person. Or D, with consent obtained by false and fraudulent representations as to the nature and the quality of the act. purpose of this act, sexual intercourse includes sexual connection occasioned by any degree of penetration of the vagina of any person or anus of any person, or by stimulation of the vulva or any person or anus of any person by or with 1, any part of the body of another person, or 2, any object used by another person, except where the penetration or stimulation is carried out for proper medical purposes, and B, sexual connection occasioned by introduction of any part of the penis of any person into the mouth of another person. And any reference in this act to the act of having sexual intercourse includes a reference to any stage or continuation of that act. For instance, if you started off, the woman said, yes, let's go have sex, and you all go and have sex.
She said,
but
no.
while you were having sex, and you're getting all excited, and she say, oh, get off me. I don't want to do this no more. And you continue, you can be charged with rape. Even though you may have started off with consent, but if she starts at any point and say, look here, I don't want this anymore because you ain't doing it right, get off me.
Rape.
If you continue, you will be charged and could be guilty of rape. Or even if you didn't use your penis, you may use some other part or some other object. You can also be charged for rape. And I can tell you, rape is getting more and more complicated. It's not a straight definition. As one who studied law, I can tell you it's getting more and more complex.
The previous administration rape the country?
Well, according to what I give the simple implication, is without, number one, so not with consent.
It depends on who you ask. So we're asking
ask the question.
Ask the question.
Ask the question. Yes, you can ask the question.
Did the previous administration, the Christie administration, rape the country?
Well, we're going to take our second break. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion. And I want to welcome you. You are tuned into Global 99.5 FM and Straight Talk with your host, Greg Colley and Martin Albury. We will return after we hear from our sponsors.
There is only one pharmacy in Nassau that never says no and offers you great service. Doc's Pharmacy in the Ridgeland Mall for all of your pharmaceutical and prescription needs. At Doc's Pharmacy, great service is more than just giving prices. Filling your prescription is easy. Just call 322-3627 today. Doc's Pharmacy in the Ridgeland Mall, Robinson Road. The pharmacy that never says no.
For fast and efficient appraisals of homes, vacant land, and businesses, your choice should be First Choice Appraisal and Real Estate Sales. Contact broker appraiser Gregory Colley for all your real estate sales and appraisals. Call 422-3010, 565-8896, or 341-0582 for listings of vacant land, residential and commercial properties, and all your appraisal needs.
LRD Construction has a proven track record as a general building and construction company. Its remarkable team is ready to provide quality and proficient service on projects big or small. LRD Construction can handle large commercial sites, new homes, apartments, condominiums, townhouses, home improvements, renovations, additions, and alterations. Call LRD Construction at 327-3769 or 433-6166. West Winds, Love Beach. That's LRD Construction.
It's a family affair, an event you don't want to miss. Yes, it's that time of the year again for the 6th annual Bishop Edward Mystic JP Memorial Back to School Fun Run Walk. It's on Saturday, August 12th at 6 a.m., beginning at First Holiness Church of God, Bamboo Town. This exciting event has been going on for the past 5 years. There will be health screening following the race, and trophies will be awarded to the top male and female finishers in each age division. This year's grand prize is a $250 travel gift certificate. For more information on the 6th annual Bishop Edward Mystic JP Memorial Back to School Fun Run Walk, contact race organizers at 341-0582, 424-0594, or 395-4656. We want to see you at the finish line.
The best tasting roasted peanuts in the whole wide world are Nature's Gifts Roasted Peanuts. Proprietor Derek Sims applies his personal touch by roasting peanuts to perfection. Get your peanuts in light, medium, and dark. Call 431-7710 to place your order. Nature's Gifts Roasted Peanuts on Market Street and Bacardi Road. Peanuts! Peanuts!
Extra, extra, read all about it. Sammy's Chicken $5.99 special.
Sammy's Chicken does it again. For a limited time only, it's the $5.99 Thigh Snack Special.
I tell you.
Sammy's $5.99 Thigh Snack Special comes with a 12-ounce Coke, that included.
See, I don't lie.
For a limited time only, Sammy's Chicken, Robinson Road, Carmichael Road, East Street South, Farrington Road, and the newly reopened Prince Charles location. Sammy's Chicken.
Want to reach your target audience? Advertise here at Global Radio 99.5. We hit the mark every time. This is Straight Talk with Gregory Colley. Call in and participate at 326-0271 on Global Radio 99.5 FM.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Straight Talk. This is your host, Greg Colley, along with my co-host, Martin Aubrey, and this is Free Talk Friday. You can talk to us whatever you have on your mind. You can talk about it today. We have a call on the line, so we're going straight to the phone lines. Welcome to Straight Talk, caller. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Rev and Martin. How you doing?
Hey, my good friend. How are you?
Oh, just great. Thanks very much.
Did the PLP rape the country?
What I wanted a definition of the meaning of rape. I wanted a definition on the word.
Oh, I gave the definition. Let me read it again.
I heard you, but I have a question because I didn't hear my category involved in that definition. I was looking for my time, because I did it before, and I was charged.
You raped before?
No, I raped somebody.
You did rape somebody?
Yes.
And what that category was?
She was a prostitute, and she said, "Stop."
And you didn't stop?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did say if
a prostitute, me and her have an agreement for the completion.
No, sir.
No.
The minute she tell you stop, you gotta stop. See, you can start off with consent.
Okay. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, you can start off with consent in the middle.
Professional sex worker.
And even in the middle of that act.
Okay.
She decide, well, I ain't going through with this no more. I can give you back your money.
Yeah.
That is you. If you paid already.
What if you pay her with a check?
A check?
And the check bounces.
Well, I don't know if any prostitute takes checks. So that's a far-fetched one. Unless she is a silly prostitute.
Hey, Rev, these are all jokes.
I understand, and I'm going along with you.
And I appreciate it. But what I actually call in to address on the show that you're talking about today, even though I know it's a open line,
right?
The cutbacks in tourism that Mr. Diaglo made this week, the announcement of that is a reflection of the government's cutting down on spending. Would you agree?
Yes, it is.
An excessive outflow of monies, right?
Right.
And I agree with that. But do you know that? And also, I have to add to that point before I make it is that when these what do you call those guys? These agencies like Lamport, the agencies that evaluate your.
You're talking about
Moody's.
You're talking Moody's and Standard & Poor's and those people,
right?
IMF.
They judge your future income or your growth based on the decisions you make, such as that. You agree with me so far?
Well, they make decisions based on projects, plans that you have,
information you provide
that you provide them. So if you give them, if you give them erroneous information or over ambitious,
their own independent research.
Well, to the extent that they can do it, but they still rely on the government to give them the information.
Yeah, the accurate report.
And you know, we don't have information readily available at our finger. One of the things I think we are that's hurting our country is our information gathering. For instance, I started to talk about this same matter with the requirement by the Registrar General to have nonprofit organizations register. This law was passed in 2014, and we are just now putting it into papers, asking people to comply. That tells you how far behind, how backward we are in terms of information, in terms of upkeep and the administration of our laws. certainly, in terms of that particular regulation being passed, and I noticed the Turks and Caicos Islands also passed a similar law around November or so in 2014. But 2014, you're now publishing 3 years later, requiring people to comply with the law and giving them 2 weeks.
Oh, sad situation.
Now that's ridiculous.
Absolutely, yes.
And that tells you our mindset that that's why our country is the way it is, because we are behind. We're not serious. And even our information, you find out that we're not up to date on a lot of things, and we're reporting statistics on information that happened three years ago, and we're acting on those backdated or outdated information to project our current affair.
Yes, sir. We operate our country, like you say, the reason why, and I agree with you, the reason why we get ourselves into this situation, and I think you would agree when I say that we are operating like a rusty, old, unaddressed engine, if I may, not tuned up. You have areas where the wheel's supposed to run, and you got an issue there because why? In that department, there was so much corruption. Every department, even to the point of, like we're talking right now, transparency. Don't we have an accountant for the government?
Of course, we have.
Yes, exactly.
We have all kinds of accountants. We have certified CPAs, CGA.
No, when I say accountants, I'm talking about a department.
We have the Treasury Department, which is supposed to be, we have the Ministry of Finance with a lot of people who would got a lot of abbreviations behind their name. And other than that, the government have at its disposal other experts, external experts, to assist them in putting together whatever financial information it needs.
And still we're losing money like crazy, aren't we?
Well, we are. Because we operate business as usual.
Exactly, and that's the point. Yeah, exactly, and that's the point I'm trying to make all across the board. That's why we end up with this lousy running engine. I mean, I just want to tell the people that this life could be so much better if we just do things honestly, the right way, and God's way. Trust me, everybody will eat. But as it goes right now, I mean, I know the government, the F&M only been in a couple of weeks now, and it's not like cutting off everything and starting afresh. I understand. We have to deal with a lot of transitions that's going on right now, because I know people close, involved in this transition right now. And the people I'm talking to, man, they would have been happy if they could have operated a righteous way. But they get instructions from the people above and the people on the side of them. Everybody is corrupt.
Well, the word of God says righteousness exalts
a nation.
And sin is a what? Reproach.
It's
to any people.
Right. Exactly. But the Bible said a lot of things, and that is a very popular statement. But I read somewhere where he also said, and I can't quote it word for word for you, but he also said, and man acts and deals in his own devices.
Mm-hmm.
He sits home and devises plans that'll work for him and not necessarily in the interest of God and the people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a natural thing that we do. We don't even realize it when we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
When the whole country's just going to hell. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm. As someone put it, going to hell in a handbasket.
Yep. And I guess what I want you to address this one for me. But anyway, while we're trying to keep the money down, I heard people talking about increasing the pay for MPs. $1,500 a week is not enough for them. You understand this? They said they get
one thing I'd like to say. Let me say this, and that's my own personal view. If I apply for a job, and I know the job pays $100 a week, I must know how I'm going to make it on that $100 a week, eh?
Thank you very much.
All right.
It's called evaluation, right?
Well,
When the bank, you take your information to the bank, they'll say you can handle this loan easily, or you can't handle this loan. And you don't go and take a job that you know only pay so much, and you know your expenditures are even not so much, because their expenditures are
in the
covered.
case of members of parliament, they take the job. They seek to get hired first of all.
Yes.
They're hired, and they know the salary is $28,000 plus per year. And they also know that if my government should win, then I should get another position, maybe a ministerial
But that's
position.
not guaranteed.
No, but I'm just saying.
That's expectation. I guess
these-
that's a reasonable expectation.
These are the things that they do, going into it.
And you know, and we,
Hoping to win and
some
to
people
get
on the phone.
more.
I'm sorry, repeat it one more time, please.
The reasonable expectation is that they
Yes.
hope to win. The government,
Oh,
the party wins,
okay,
and they will get more.
okay. It's all about being re-elected to be in a more powerful position.
Absolutely.
And not only that, they're going to get a pension for that if they're re-elected, right? 2 terms.
And most things are guaranteed for them.
Oh man, I mean, we got so much fixings to do in this country, man. But another story I want you to cover for me, Martin. See if you could look into the accusation I heard that Turks Island down there, they are getting smart and responding to their immigration problems by asking all the illegals to leave, including if your last name is Bahamian.
Okay, I will certainly check into it.
Please, that'd be interesting conversation, you know, on another show.
Because the last thing I heard about Turks Island is that they welcome people to come there because they need help. They need laborers. They need workers.
Well, I don't know whether Bahamians will be going there to be laborers.
No, I don't think that's common.
They ain't being laborers in their own country, so I don't know about that.
So I'm
But
not.
you know, like
So
Bob
I'm,
always
so,
say,
so,
he try
so
to
I'm not
keep that
certain.
thing-
I'm not certain many Bahamians are involved in that.
No.
There may be many who say they are belonger
Yes.
or that they have status.
I mean, that Turks Island thing is so confusing because, you know, we basically same blood. You know what I mean? We just got cut off politically. But because I've known and worked with Turks Islanders for years in this place, man. As a matter of fact, I had a bass player I played with. I thought he was a sort of the son of the soil from Freeport.
Many of us can't get away from it because we have roots.
Yes, which is very important, man.
We got deep roots in Turks and Caicos Islands. We got
roots.
deep roots
We got
in
roots.
Haiti.
Got roots.
Yeah.
We got deep roots.
Yeah.
And we can go on and on. We got
So-
roots
so-
all over the place. But
so it
particularly
takes
as it stands with Turks and Caicos Islands, the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos Islands have shared a long history of connection. As a matter of fact, Turks and Caicos Islands were administered from the Bahamas, and then they were back and forth between Bahamas and Jamaica. So there's a historical connection. Anyone from the north in Grand Bahama, I know that lots of Turks Islanders migrated to Grand Bahama, have built Grand Bahama. A lot of names that you
The
have.
Prime Minister was born in 8 Mile Rock. That lady.
So you see how deep it's getting?
Exactly.
I will certainly look into this report.
Now,
to you
if you
later on.
hear that they are cracking down on Bahamians, it's because you now have a Bahamian who is premier of Turks and Caicos, and we do that sort of thing.
Yes. But
If someone alleged that's why Sir Lyndon, God rest his soul, was so hard on Jamaicans.
Yeah, he was one too, eh? Anyway, y'all have a good weekend.
You too.
God bless you.
All right. 3260271. 3260271. 3260272. 3260272. Or you can WhatsApp or text us at 552-7902. 552-7902. You're tuned into Straight Talk. I'm your host, Greg Colley, along with my co-host, Martin Albury. And this is Free Talk Friday, so you can talk about whatever topic you wish to talk about. We've been talking about the outrageous bonuses that BPL is paying its executives, notwithstanding that we have not received the kind of quality service that they've been contracted to do. Also, the electricity rates have been increased. There is still this question about that absorbent electricity bill that they've been giving to people after the aftermath of Hurricane Matthew. Even though we didn't have no electricity, that seemed to have fallen flat. What's happening with that? I think we were promised to see some in that regard, but we haven't seen that yet. That has gone dead, fallen flat. But are those bonuses justified? Someone said that the Progressive Liberal Party has raped the country, and they all are guilty. Do you agree with those sentiments? Also, what about the requirement now that churches have to now disclose and register all of their assets and so forth to the Registrar General? And I asked the question whether there was any town hall meeting prior to this law being passed, as we know the previous modus operandi of the Christie government to be consultative. They have been less consultative this time than the last time than they have been in the first term. I guess they've learned. They say people with too much committees being formed, wasting time. So this time it says, since you say you don't want us to talk, we will just do what we have to do and then let you judge then. But this law, I understand, was passed in 2014. But we are now just saying, just this month, the Registrar Department sent out a notice giving non-GOs 14 days to comply with the law. Is this fair? Is this good governance that we do things in this regard? We know there's a saying that ignorance is no excuse to the law, but certainly where you have a far-reaching legal ramification and a change like this, it should have been widely discussed. As we saw in the Turks and Caicos Islands, that ordinance was delayed for a year before it was passed in the law. But the people were given a chance to express their concerns and to give their input on the impending law. But I don't recall, I could be wrong, but if someone could tell me, it could correct me, whether the same type of thing was done. It appears that the Christian Council was caught sleeping. The churches were caught sleeping. The other NGOs, everybody was caught sleeping. Maybe we were too busy worrying about the Gaming Act. In 2014, a lot of things were happening. It was designed to distract us so that this law could be passed without us noticing, like they did when they changed the law in 1991, decriminalizing homosexuality.
So what does the law say? Because I remember that there are many non-government organizations qualify for government grants or subsidies. Are the churches and church-operated schools in this same big basket that they are putting out today? That all must verify or give accounting of the monies that they have been granted, and to even release, even if they are getting funds from foundations or other entities for their operations. What is the government seeking to do? Because I recall in the past, government gave grants to non-government organizations, to churches, government and church-operated schools. And one of the requirements is that they stipulate or outline or give an accounting as to what the government grants to them. So what is it now that the government is asking these organizations to do that is different or new from what was the practice in the past? Because if you receive a government grant as a non-government organization for a particular plan or program, then it is incumbent upon the organization to provide the government with information as to how the money was utilized.
But
that's the way it is.
Yeah, but you see, what are
they trying to do now?
Well, let me just read the response from the Registrar General's Department, which was given based on concerns arising from the recent NPO disclosure notice. Nassau, Bahamas, on July 21st, 2017, the Tribune newspaper published an article in relation to a notice from the Registrar General's Department requiring non-profit organizations, NPOs, to produce certain documents, and there has been subsequent concerns expressed by social partners. The assertion that the Registrar General can only request financials from a non-profit organization where the Registrar General is of the view that non-profits are engaged in terror financing is incorrect, as Section 123 of the Companies Act gives the Registrar General the authority to request financials at any time in writing. The department wishes to advise that NPOs are governed by the Companies Act as well as the company's non-profit regulations, which is the new one. The Registrar General's Department is exercising the authority of the Registrar General to ensure that all non-profit organizations are adhering to the 2014 regulations, and further, that the Bahamas is seeking to enhance regulatory oversight of non-profit sector. The regulations are not designed to lead to any sort of taxation of non-profit companies or any registered NPOs. The Bahamas introduced regulations in the form of Companies Non-Profit Organization Regulation 2014, hereinafter the 2014 regulations. The 2014 regulations, as crafted, sought to regulate all non-profit organizations, whether incorporated under the Companies Act or otherwise. This was necessary to ensure that the registry maintained files and records of all non-profit companies and entities in the Bahamas, sufficient to ensure that they utilize any money received or donated for expenses purposes for which they were incorporated under the Companies Act, or for the declared purposes, if incorporated, B, and that the beneficial owners of every NPO are contained on a register of such. Registrar General's Department, pursuant to these regulations and more, specifically Regulation 5 and 15, has therefore sought to ascertain the status of all existing nonprofits and those on its registry. In doing so, the Registrar General is exercising a supervisory and enforcement authority to monitor and to regulate nonprofit organizations pursuant to Regulation 4 of the regulations. This review of all nonprofits on the registry is also important to ensure that we are in compliance with our international obligations, preventing the potential use of nonprofits in the Bahamas as vehicles for international criminal activity, and protecting our financial industry, which is vital to our national development. The registrar further asserts that the notice is not intended to allege that any or all NPOs in the Bahamas are engaged in any form of terrorism financing. The Registrar General takes the threat of terrorism and money laundering seriously and is taking every step to ensure that companies incorporated registered are operating in an environment in compliance of Bahamian law. It is the intention of the Registrar General to simply give notice to all unincorporated friendly societies and to review the position as it affects other NPOs. Legal advice will in some cases be required to determine all the categories of NPOs to which the 2014 regulations apply. Based on such further legal advice, the categories of non-profit entities may widen further. Please be further advised that the requested financials will not be made available for public inspection but administrative use.
So what do they want to see? What do they want to know? They want to know that you are operating and that you are not getting involved in any criminal activity or any terrorism financing, that you are not involved in any laundering of money, that you are not benefiting from the proceeds of any crime. Why do they need to know all of this information? what is it going to do for the government? When the companies or the organizations, the non-profits, file or make application for their existence, that rests with the Registrar General's Department. There's a register of all of these things. Now they want to know how much money you are making, and you say you're not for non-profit. So is the money that you are generating being utilized for what you stipulate in your application? How then do they have any jurisdiction over your organization? How do they exercise that?
But I have a bigger question. How do they enforce and how do they police that what you are giving? They can't police and enforce what people are giving them in terms of public disclosure, in terms of other information that the other agencies get. How do you really police and enforce this?
That's a very good question. We need to put it to them. What is the real reasoning behind asking for all of these non-profit organizations to comply?
How do you verify
with what you are requesting?
How do you go about verifying what they give you?
They will do a forensic audit on your company, on your non-profit.
Where do they get the money?
You will have to provide the accountant to police your organization. This is how they do it. Now, I understand that the president of the Christian Council made
for an extension,
made application or appointment to meet with the Prime Minister to discuss this very same thing that you raised here this afternoon. Yes, asking for an extension. Well, I think at the same time, you should want to find out further details as to why these requirements are being sought.
Well, as I said, I note with interest that the Turks and Caicos Islands passed similar ordinance around the same time that we passed this legislation.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it has some wider international purpose. Perhaps it is, as I said, maybe it's solely intended to track funds that may be earmarked or designed to further terrorism or money laundering.
It is possible that the United States government, that the United Nations, that the Organization of American States, that the European Union have discovered that non-profit organizations throughout their jurisdictions were being utilized to fund terrorism. That is possible.
Mm-hmm.
And they are drawing a big, wide line across the Commonwealth, United States, the Organization of American States, even CARICOM, drawing a big, broad line. We need to watch the actions of these non-profit organizations.
And churches are not exempted.
Whether they be
because, you know, in
churches,
the United States, churches,
schools,
churches are required to be registered. They are taxed like anybody else.
Absolutely, absolutely. So
maybe we're moving in that direction.
There is something behind this.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to find out
what it is,
and they need to tell us the truth.
Yeah,
speak the truth. Tell us what you need this information for. What you're trying to prevent. They did say they want to prevent criminal activity and terrorism financing. They did say that, eh?
Yes.
So that tells you what it's all about. Amen.
I hear the music in the background. It's time for us to take our final break. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Straight Talk. If you are just tuning in, you're tuned into Straight Talk, coming to you live from Global 99.5 FM. I'm your host, Greg Colley, along with my co-host, Martin Aubrey, and this is Free Talk Friday on Straight Talk, so you get to talk about whatever topic you have of interest today, and we will discuss it with you. We'll listen, and we will, if it needs your action, we'll follow it up for you. This is Straight Talk. We're coming back just after we hear from our sponsors.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Sammy's Chicken $5.99 special.
Sammy's Chicken does it again. For a limited time only, it's the $5.99 thigh snack special.
I tell you.
Sammy Thigh Snack Special comes with a 12-ounce Coke, that included.
See, I don't lie.
For a limited time only, Sammy's Chicken, Robinson Road, Carmichael Road, East Street South, Farrington Road, and the newly reopened Prince Charles location. Sammy's Chicken.
The best tasting roasted peanuts in the whole wide world are Nature's Gifts roasted peanuts. Proprietor Derek Sims applies his personal touch by roasting peanuts to perfection. Get your peanuts in light, medium, and dark. Call 431-7710 to place your order. Nature's Gifts roasted peanuts on Market Street and Bacardi Road.
It's a family affair, an event you don't want to miss. Yes, it's that time of the year again for the 6th annual Bishop Edward Mystic JP Memorial Back to School Fun Run Walk. It's on Saturday, August 12th at 6 a.m., beginning at First Holiness Church of God, Bamboo Town. This exciting event has been going on for the past 5 years. There will be health screening following the race, and trophies will be awarded to the top male and female finishers in each age division. This year's grand prize is a $250 travel gift certificate. For more information on the 6th annual Bishop Edward Mystic JP Memorial Back to School Fun Run Walk, contact race organizers at 341-0582, 424-0594, or 395-4656. We want to see you at the finish line.
LRD Construction has a proven track record as a general building and construction company. Its remarkable team is ready to provide quality and proficient service on projects big or small. LRD Construction can handle large commercial sites, new homes, apartments, condominiums, townhouses, home improvements, renovations, additions, and alterations. Call LRD Construction at 327-3769 or 433-6166. West Winds, Love Beach. That's LRD Construction.
For fast and efficient appraisals of homes, vacant land, and businesses, your choice should be First Choice Appraisal and Real Estate Sales. Contact broker appraiser Gregory Colley for all your real estate sales and appraisals. Call 422-3010, 565-8896, or 341-0582 for listings of vacant land, residential and commercial properties, and all your appraisal needs.
There is only one pharmacy in Nassau that never says no and offers you great service. Doc's Pharmacy in the Ridgeland Mall for all of your pharmaceutical and prescription needs. At Doc's Pharmacy, great service is more than just giving prices. Filling your prescription is easy. Just call 322-3627 today. Doc's Pharmacy in the Ridgeland Mall, Robinson Road. The pharmacy that never says no.
Want to reach your target audience? Advertise here at Global Radio 99.5. We hit the mark every time. This is Straight Talk with Gregory Colley. Call in and participate at 326-0271 on Global Radio 99.5 FM.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our final segment of Straight Talk with your host, Greg Colley and Martin Albury. And again, this is Free Talk Friday, which means you get to talk about whatever you want to talk about. We've been talking just before we took the break about the requirements for nonprofits to register. And I mentioned that this same regulation, this ordinance, was passed in the Turks and Caicos Islands around the same time we were debating and passing it here in the Bahamas. I want to read to you this article. TCI nonprofit organizations must register, written on 25th of November 2014. Providenciales. Legislation delayed by 1 year is now live. The Nonprofit Organizations Regulation 2014 has been gazetted and calls for all not-for-profit entities to register, which means they now become supervised by the Financial Services Commission. This legislative change was strongly registered by NPOs. I beg your pardon, this legislative change was strongly resisted by NPOs, but now the move is forwarded as the law requires groups like Crime Stoppers, the Turks and Caicos Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, the Red Cross, the Turks and Caicos Hotel and Tourism Association, the Heart Foundation, and others that fall into this category to not only state who they are, name executives, directors, or trustees, but to report on monies being made, and to show what the funds are being used to do. Greater transparency and accountability some might call it, for the Turks and Caicos as a UK overseas territory. It is part of the mandate to line up with global expectations about financial transactions within the territory. Ironically, as these organizations were seeking to have more time to brace themselves for this added expense and administrative procedure and hoping for legislation to be tweaked, a Canadian attorney operating in the Turks and Caicos, Patrick Poulin, was arrested in an undercover operation by U.S. agents. Poulin and 2 others were accused of using non-profit organization in the Turks and Caicos Islands to launder money. $2 million. Yeah, your rationale. You get your rationale. Poulin, 41, who worked at Bishop's here in Provo, entered a guilty plea and was sentenced to 14 months in prison, 3 years of supervised release in Virginia courtroom last month. According to records from the U.S. District of Justice, Department of Justice, also known as the Department of Justice, all NPOs in the TCI are required to register with an exemption going only to groups making less than $10,000 annually, who have less than $20,000 in assets and are with a certificate of exemption. On November 13th, His Excellency Peter Beckenham, the governor, signed this revised legislation into law, the 3 objectives being for nonprofits to register, to maintain records, and to annually report on finances of up to $500,000. There are fines for breaching the ordinance. They range from $30,000 to $50,000. So you see, by examining other things, you get your answer.
That's exactly what you do.
So that's why I did my research.
And
it's because of this case.
They're trying to prevent money laundering, terrorism financing. Need all, they say, to comply and to show what you're doing.
Can this same very thing be done through political parties?
Well, political parties are also similar to non-profit organizations.
But they're not on that list.
They do not do the same things. They are supposed to be.
But aren't they
involved
where laundering can happen?
They are supposed to be involved in campaigning for governance of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That's what they do. And in the process of that, they are donated, in some instances, millions of dollars.
And they can't come from terrorists? And money launderers?
And there is no way of telling where the finances are derived. No way.
Mm-hmm.
Even them, they know it comes from John Blow or Joe Black.
But do they know that John Blow or Joe Black is not a terrorist?
And they don't know who John Doe or Joe Black is working for. And the reasons why they are sending the money or making a donation to the political party. Now, maybe they need to take it a little further. And one of the things the Prime Minister, Dr. Hubert Minnis, and his FNM government has promised, based on their election campaigning, is electoral reform and financing of election campaigns. What are they going to do to show us that all of the donations or the financing of political parties above board.
Mm-hmm.
How are they going to put this in legislation? And what is going to be the content of this legislation is still yet to be seen. But it must be similar to what they are asking the non-profit organizations to do, because you are one of them too.
It must be more even stringent.
You are one of them too.
No, it must be more stringent. It should say, whom much is given, much is required.
Well, tell me what you're talking about, so they can all understand.
You see, because if you are campaigning to govern,
yes,
the requirement then for you as leader has to be more stringent and more must be asked of you, because you must lead by example. So if you're asking me as a NGO, and one of the things I want to make a point while I remember, in that ordinance, if you notice the UK, the TCI, which is still managed by
Britain, yes.
Britain, they put a cap. They say make a fool with them, not the small little things, because they know what the intention is. $5,000-$10,000 maybe, but see, when you talk about policing it,
yes,
you see, you got to look at these things sensibly. $20,000, $10,000. We say they exempt those, but in our legislation, it seems like it includes everybody.
Yes, whether you're getting 5,000,
whether you're getting 1,000 or 500,
they need to know. And you say you are a non-profit organization. So when you get this money and you say what your plan and your program is, who you intend to target or help, are you following through with what you say you were doing?
But what is to account to meet your regulations, to meet your requirement? What is it going to cost my non-profit organization if I'm only making or getting small donations?
Well, I think what they are really trying to do is to weed some people out. You're not able to do this. You say you are non-profit. You're accepting donations from government and other agencies.
No, not government.
Well,
See,
the government don't give them nothing?
See, no. I don't see. Look here. Listen. I am of the view that those institutions that receive regular grants from the government,
yes,
there ought to be no doubt that if you're getting money from the government ought to be, as a part of that grant, should stipulate that you must give account for those funds. And if the government has not been doing it, the government has been very slack. Because you don't give away money just like that without requiring some accounting of those funds, and so there's no question with those people who receive regular grants from the government. Then they ought to account. That's not. But we're talking about
where then is the expense arising from a non-profit organization having to put their papers together, their figures to present to the government? What is the expense?
The expense is going to come when they say, okay, well, we need you to verify this information you give me. You write it down on paper, but I need it verified. I need you to have an accountant or someone to certify that what you're giving me is correct.
And the accountant can do that as a charity work.
They do that kind of thing?
I believe they can.
No, I actually can.
This could be the arrangement between the NGO or the NPO and the accountant or the firm that is a friend, knowing that these organizations are not money-making entities.
My good friend, do you think the accountant is in the business to do charity work?
And they do it, and they show that they are a part of helping people.
How much?
And that is how you get your blessings. You will be attracting others.
I want you to put your foot on the ground, though.
I'm standing strong.
I want you to be realistic about this thing now.
Trying to determine what will hinder or cause a
I just tell you what's going to hinder
government or non-profit organization from
do you know
getting all its work together to comply.
Do you know I am now
with what
today?
the government
Do
is
you know
requiring.
that I am today not without my business license, notwithstanding that I applied within sufficient time, paid my $100 for my renewal.
Mhm.
When I submitted my information, they tell me I need to have it verified. I need to send some evidence to them to show that I'm below the 100,000 threshold.
Mhm.
Now, the year before, and the years before, and the year before that, I have not been asked to provide that information. So, what has caused that to change? Are they getting information otherwise to say that I'm getting more, making more? I will tell you, and I think a lot of small businesses who are exempted from paying VAT, or say they're paying VAT, there is a mechanism in the system to more or less keep you honest. In that, you see, if I purchase goods from you, and let's say I'm reporting that I'm not making the 100,000.
Yes.
But when the persons who I make my purchases to send in their exemption or their request for refund,
yes,
and they say they've been able to
supply
me with X amount of dollars. So when they send that in for their refund, the VAT or the inland revenue is able to see that I'm doing more business than I say that I'm reporting in terms of my VAT capabilities. But certainly I can tell them, and I can emphatically state that if they have such information, their information is grossly incorrect, and they will have not a shred of evidence to support that I'm making more than that. So why are you putting an onus on me to produce it?
And
holding me up, and then they want to charge me an extra $100
by doing
to say that I didn't supply the information in time.
And by doing such things,
you see how systems can make criminal of people?
They are also adding to the Bahamas continuing to be on this list, way down on this list, when it comes to the ease of doing business in the country. If they do it domestically, what do you think the foreign investors are experiencing when they try to do business in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? But I believe one of the things the Prime Minister also said, they will be forming a special committee to tackling the issues that are causing the Bahamas to be in the position that it is in when it comes to the ease of doing business. But by NPOs, the non-profit organizations who are being required and to comply with certain requirements by the Registrar General's Department, I believe that it has a lot to do with the situation and the case that you mentioned involving the Turks and Caicos Islands with a non-profit organization. And I believe that they are, as far as possible, trying to ensure that those things are prevented in the Bahamas. I verily believe that. But in the meantime, they must give these organizations some leeway, some time, in order for them to get their house or houses and to deal with what the Registrar General's Department is requiring of them. They need time. And they also need to find the resources by which to pay for these verifications to be done. So I'm certain, following the meeting with President of the Bahamas Christian Council, who is, I believe, speaking on behalf of all nonprofit organizations, including churches, when he speaks with the Prime Minister, he will be given some semblance of not just pulling back, but some time.
But also, you see, Martin, based on my experience with NIB and small businesses, right? Don't keep records, even though it's an offense under the National Insurance Act for business not to keep records. Small businesses don't keep records. Now, you can imagine those small NGOs trying to remember, trying to recall who they get from. You see the kind of problems you can put those people in. That's why I say it would make more sense, like Sticks and Cakes Islands, to put a cap to say, well, look, these people below this level, they probably would not. And besides, if someone's trying to launder a small amount of money, that's a waste of time, right? To go after that. The expense of policing that and monitoring that is not going to be cost effective. So you put a cap, those under 10,000. I'm not too sure, but I have not seen the legislation. I've not read it to say, to give empirical insight as to what it says and to give my real assessment of it. But on the surface of it, I would say that makes sense. But from what has been published, it appears that it didn't give any, and what I read from the release from the Registrar General certainly did not give any indication that there was some exemption for certain type of organizations or for those making a certain amount. So that's something I think as an also a thing that the president of the Christian Council could use also. What about those small churches who only have about 2-3 members in the church? You're putting the same onus on them as those who have thousands and who have resources.
Yeah,
but you see what I'm saying? It has to make sense.
Yes.
What about those small NGOs who are only catering to a small segment of society and only getting donations for a small amount? Do you put the same onus on those? These are kind of questions that I think we need to talk about. We have a call on the line. Welcome to Straight Talk. Good afternoon.
What a colleague.
How are you?
Martin Albrecht.
Good evening.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, your producer. Prophet, yo.
Yes, Prophet.
I was trying to get in that day, but the lady was the last caller. All right. Now I got plenty points. I think I'm
plenty points. You better give us your most solid ones.
Listen to me. First of all, I want to congratulate you, Derek Sims, Senator Derek Sims, former senator. You say Martin Albrecht get a job too?
Well, the saying hasn't been published yet.
Let's deal.
Anyway, I want to congratulate all of those people who were appointed for the 104 board, or all appointees. All right. Now,
thank you.
Urgency, economic problem. Minister admits Bahama room discount slightly worrisome. Dinicio de Aguilar, Minister, you only touch on that. 2, the high crime level, homicide rate peaks 88. Under the FNM, so far, the homicide since is for them 38. Under the PLP is 50 before they take off first. They need to do more to get this under control. 3, the high illegal immigration level problem. We had 15 Haitian sloops apprehended by the Royal Bahamas Defense Force so far from May 10. Not a word from the Honorable Minister Brent Simonet and the Prime Minister on what they plan to do on the rise in human trafficking. 4, I hope, right, in no way, right, the government is encouraging these illegals to swarm the Bahamas, because the rate of pace of them are coming from the new government took office is mind blowing. And look, like we, the Bahamian people.
Well, they too must get the message as the people's time, must they?
Listen, the Bahamian Ovation Descent overwhelmingly, we know that they supported the FNM government because of the PLP government hand stance on the new immigration policy. Without a shadow of a doubt, they voted to support the FNM to give them 94,000 votes. We all know that. But us, a patriotic Bahamian, we must stand together as Bahamians and force the Minister administration to bring proper legislation to disrupt the flow of ties of illegal immigration smuggling coming from the south. We cannot let our guards go down and let the leadership of our ambition override the judgment We must put to control the leakage, put legislation, legal cap in place to deal with this problem of overspilling in every family islands of illegals, or sit on the sideline and play dumb and retarded like everybody else, while the country get overrun with overflow with illegals. We can sit by and don't say nothing. And some people are doing this for financial labor gain, so they can bring these guys and ladies to wait for cheaper labor. We need to deal with that. And if the 15 vessels, Asian vessels, would have been captured so far by the French force, I want to thank them for doing a good job. The administration need, I believe, because of that announcement they made of an independent committee board to oversight the naturalization process for all Bahamian born or foreign background or for Bahamian citizenship may be playing a contribution to what is going on with all of those illegals coming most every day in our country. And we must not forget that the back to school, they try to get back to the Bahamas to make it in the schools for September. So this when we're supposed to beef up. We know this month, July and September with the light wind. They need to be out there. All the French force supposed to be waking. We got the Dominican poachers coming in the water for August. We gotta get serious and get ready, man. Can't let the country just get overrun and nobody saying nothing. Now, Gravy Colley, as you elected appointment to the Public Disclosure Act, right? I'd like you to draft anti-fraud legislation into the new Public Disclosure Commission Act, right? To strengthen the Disclosure Act. This bill would seek to deal with public servants with expensive luxury marine vessels, airplanes, vehicles, equipment, multi-million-dollar homes and condos, and business establishments and crown lands or properties, who fail to explain how they obtain their wealth legitimately, will have their assets forfeited by the state. Legislation includes civil assets forfeiture if you cannot explain your wealth to a court of law on the basis of your salary. You will lose your wealth, or you obtain what you obtain if you cannot provide evidence as to how you acquired it. This bill will bring effect a new registration act also to deal with the land registration of deeds, to know the owners of these land and how much these people in the public servants own with the land, right? And under this new law, the public servants will also be, if it's a criminal offense, if they be found guilty, subject to jail time and penalties if they be found in breach and not compliant with the new public disclosure legislation bill law. A fine up to about at least $250,000 to $1 million. If they fail to pay the fine, then 2.5 years to 5 years in prison. We got to stop playing, man. Let's get serious and be serious on the corruption. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Prophet. I can say with regard to what he's requiring, a lot of people are not aware that the Public Disclosure Act does not confine itself to members of parliament and senators. The Public Disclosure Act extends to all department heads,
Yes.
Permanent secretaries, the commissioner of police,
Yes.
Heads, directors of government boards, government departments, government corporations, general managers, or whatever name they call. They all come under the Public Disclosure Act and are required to disclose. And so I'm going to certainly, as I've been appointed, will look into how that particular law can be strengthened, effective, and that it has actual teeth, not rubber teeth, but real teeth, so that the law can take its course for those who run afoul of it. So I can tell you that I will not be just a bystander, but one thing you can say, and I've always been that way, if you give me a job to do, I'm going to do it. So if you don't want me to do it, don't give it to me.
Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
You finished?
Great weekend. I hear the music playing in the background.
What's up, man? Tell us again.
It tells me that it's time to go. And that's what I'm going to say. Thank you very much for listening. I trust you have a good weekend and that you attend church tomorrow or Sunday.
Well, Sunday we're having a special day. It's Family and Friends Day, so you can invite some of your friends now to come.
I invited all of my friends and family to come to church with me on Sunday, and I'm looking forward to seeing them.
Well, I'm giving an open invitation. You know, I was talking to a few people. I talked about it this week. Some folk were saying, well, you know, I would like to come to your church, but you never gave me an invitation. I said, well, I didn't know you had to invite you. But anyway, if those of you who feel that way, I am giving an open invitation. Yeah. I don't think you ever need an invitation to come to God's house. But if you want me to give you a special invitation, I am giving you one today to join us on Sunday. Come and worship with me and my family, church family at First Holiness Church of God, Bamboo Town. We're having Family and Friends Day on Sunday. And as a matter of fact, tonight, we are concluding our prayer band anniversary. We kicked off last night, a wonderful hot night. We had a very, very good anointed speaker last night. And we're hoping to continue that fellowship tonight as we celebrate with our women prayer band anniversary. Well, it's not only women, you know, because men are also prayer band leaders. So we some folk think there's only a women thing when you're having prayer band, but prayer, everybody is supposed to pray, man and women. So we're celebrating tonight, and tonight is the last night. And I want to give you an invitation. If you're listening and you want to come out, come and join us tonight at First Holiness Church of God, First Holiness Way in Bamboo Town. We will be delighted to fellowship with you and to celebrate the goodness of God. And the theme is Prayer Works. And if you heard that testimony of our speaker last night, you would be encouraged about praying. And prayer does indeed change things. So once again, I want to say thank you very much for joining us on Straight Talk. We're going to thank you for your telephone calls, your text messages, and also for your continued encouragement. Today's show has been brought to you by Doc's Pharmacy, by Massa Assist, by Nature's Gifts, Fresh Roasted Peanuts, by Sammy's Chicken, by First Choice Appraisals and Sales, and also by the 6th Annual Bishop Edward Missick Memorial Back to School Fun Run Walk. Oh, I forgot the Geneva Brass. Oh, how I can forget our good friends there in Eden Street. Geneva Brass Seafood, yes. We can get all your fresh seafood. I think I'm going there to see if we get any fresh conch when we leave from here. Well, I want no crawfish yet. The crawfish season ain't open yet, but it's about to open. I know they're going to have lots of crawfish, so you can go down and get it. So on behalf of our producer and engineer, Nathan, my co-host, Martin Albury, this has been Straight Talk. We'll see you on Monday, God's willing. Good afternoon.